All right, let's go on the sideline now. Our third member of the crew is Greg Sherman, and he's got the weather forecast for us. Greg.
Yeah, Tom, Jeff, the weather forecast, 41 degrees out right now. Light winds blowing right to left on the television dial. Wind chill in the low to mid-30s. Not quite as bad as it was for the games played here in San Antonio last night. Both Sean McCullough as well as Glenn Hill said that the weather's not going to affect them, especially if there's not much in the way of wind. One player this week in practice told me when it came to the cold weather that, hey, I'd rather play in a cold weather game instead of sitting in a nice heated house because my team missed the playoffs. Tom, Jeff, back up to you in the booth.
Thanks very much, Greg. Greg will be joining us from the sidelines. Let's take a look at tonight's keys to the game. We got them just about set up. Greg, go ahead.
Thank you so much, Sean. A battle of defenses here in the first half, 7-3. You guys are ahead, each team with one turnover for so far.
Yeah, I mean, there's a reason why they're 8-2. They've been playing good defense all year, and we played pretty good defense. We'll get it going a little bit in the second half, get a shot at it right off the get-go offensively, and you know, we're going to adjust, they're going to adjust, and we'll see which one's going to come out fighting the hardest second half, and that's what it's going to come down to.
Your freshman quarterback, Jelon Williams, he doesn't look like a freshman out there, very much holding his own so far.
Yeah, no doubt. He's a mature kid. He's been playing, you know, in some big games, starting all the way back with our Steel game, and, you know, he's a little bit more seasoned than your average 14-year-old kid, and, you know, it's going to come down to us making a couple adjustments and keeping drives going and not having silly penalties. And I think we're in great shape, and everything's going to work out A-OK.
Sean McCullough, appreciate the time.
Not a problem. Appreciate it.
Sean McCullough, the head coach of Judson. They do have a slim 7-3 lead. Winner of this game will take on the winner of O'Connor and San Antonio Southwest. At last report, according to the text messages, O'Connor is up 21-7. Back to you.
All right, thanks, Greg, very much. We've got great halftime activities coming up in a moment or two. Churchill will kick to Judson, who leads 7-3. Think we got the mic fixed. Greg, go ahead.
Thanks so much. Glenn Hill didn't have a whole lot to say coming out of the locker room. He said that it was a pretty good defensive first half for both sides. He'd like to see his offense make a couple more plays. He said he will have one or two players going to have to move around because of a couple of injuries. But other than that, he was pretty happy with the first half. And after losing the last two playoff games by double figures, certainly at 7-3, Churchill's still very much in this. Tom, Jeff, back to you up top.
All right, Greg, thanks very much. Now, San Antonio Churchill, 28-10, standing by with our player of the game on the sideline, Greg Sherman. Greg?
Thank you so much, Tom. Isaiah Gibson, the one of the two quarterbacks playing tonight, big fourth quarter touchdown run, really opened up the floodgates. Tell me what you had on that play.
Well, I give it to my line because we need a big momentum changer, and I guess they got the job done, and I had to execute, get the play ready.
Tell me about your defense tonight, forcing a couple turnovers early and then a couple ones late to seal it.
Oh, well, I give congrats to the defense because they did a good job overall, you know what I'm saying? So I give congrats to them. That's all I can say.
What kind of resolve does this show the team that when a couple quarterbacks at the start of the season go down with injuries, you and Jelon Williams, the freshman, both you and him converted from other positions, come in, step in, nearly beat Steele, win this game tonight?
Well, we just got to, you know what I'm saying? Well, actually, we went back when the first quarterback got hurt. You know what I'm saying? We asked him, what do you want us to do? Like, all we got to do is execute. And then our other quarterback got hurt. And then that's when we had to step up. And Jelon, him being a freshman, he really stepped up. And I appreciate that. He did a good job. And when I had to come and do my job.
Well, big win tonight, 28-10. You go back to the second round to play O'Connor. Again, congratulations, and we'll see you in round number 2. Congratulations.
Thank you.
That's Isaiah Gibson, the junior converted to a quarterback. He had a touchdown run tonight, and 28-10 the win. Judson will go on to play O'Connor, who won tonight. Second time in 3 years that these two teams meet in the second round. Judson won that one 34-28. Back to you, Tom and Jeff.
All right, Greg, thanks very much. Boy, we had a slugfest for the first 3 quarters, partner, didn't we? And then all of a sudden, on the sideline, third member of our crew tonight is Greg Sherman. Greg, go ahead.
Thanks so much, Tom. You and Jeff earlier talked about the uniqueness of this 10-team district divided into 2 5-team zones. Normally, if you come in 1-5 and 0-6, you're looking towards next season and playing out the string this year, but that's not the case with either one of these teams this year. In fact, if Clark beats Marshall tonight, they would be 2-0 in district play, and they would lead Zone B, and they would all but assure themselves a spot in one of the 2 play-in games to get to the playoffs Week 11 if they don't win the zone. Marshall, meanwhile, 0-6, but if they win tonight and then turn around and beat Holmes later this month, they would have the inside track towards one of the playoff spots as well to get to the play-in games for the playoffs. So, Tom, Jeff, certainly a lot left to play for in this game. Should be an interesting one. Let's send it back up to you guys for the call.
All right, Greg, thanks very much. The coin toss was won by the Greg Sherman will have Steve McGee down on the field before they go into the locker room. Greg, take it away.
Thank you so much, Steve. 38-0. What have you been more impressed with so far tonight, your offense or your defense?
Both. I mean, obviously we created a couple of turnovers, which was big for us. We had a couple of big plays, and we jumped on them early, and that's what the game plan was, and we were fortunate in order to come away with a big first quarter, put it that way.
Jake Stewart already in the end zone 3 times, and I know he missed last week's game, came out of the game before early with a concussion. How happy have you been with his performance after missing last week's game?
Oh, absolutely. He's missed the last 2 weeks, to be honest with you, and I mean, we're extremely happy to have him back. He's quick, he's fast, he's fresh, and we're excited to have him back.
The only thing that went wrong in the first half was the ejection. Do you address that with your team about staying patient?
Oh, absolutely. I was a little irate, to say the least, and I will be irate when I get there and have time to talk to those kids. But we're going to take care of our business, do right, do your best, what we ask them to do.
Steve, thanks for the time.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Steve McGee, 38-0 the lead. In fact, Tom and Jeff, the 38 points, they've only gotten past 38 points once in the last 2 seasons.
Connect with Greg Sherman on the sideline. Greg.
Thanks, Tom. Yeah, I talked with the head coach, Tim Williams, from Marshall coming out of the locker room. He said his team really felt like they were shell-shocked, and he wanted his team to keep fighting. Obviously, the interception and the field goal certainly not going Marshall's way. By the way, real fast, I talked to Langston Johnson, who had the interception at practice on Tuesday. He was so fired up for this game, saying, hey, our playoffs start now. We're ready to get going. And as you've seen from the Clark team tonight, as well as from Johnson on that interception, this team has been nothing but fired up tonight on offense, defense, and special teams. Tom, Jeff?
That they have. You know, the overtime. Let's go down on the field, and standing by with a special guest is Greg Sherman. Greg.
Thanks so much, Tom. I'm joined by Northside ISD Athletic Director Stan Lang. And Stan, we talked at the start of the broadcast about how having 2 zones gives teams like Clark and Marshall that didn't get off to a good start on the season a second chance to be able to get into the playoffs. And it looks like Clark's on their way to at least getting into one of those play-in games.
Yeah, and that's a good point. I know back when we started talking about zone play and looking at the pros and cons, that was one of the pros for us to consider, you know, giving our teams an opportunity to have a chance to play longer in the season and give our teams a chance to develop throughout in non-district and then have something to play for at the end of the year.
How do you feel like the zones have worked, not just here in football, but in other sports?
You know, it's been real competitive, but after each year, after this season, we're going to look at it in basketball and soccer, and our coaches will look and evaluate and see if that's what we want to do, you know, moving forward in the next realignment.
Would you like to see the zones be able to come on in 2016, since it again gives so many teams a chance to have longer seasons?
Well, you know, in football, we're for sure going with zone play again the next realignment. Our coaches, we've all sat down and talked about it, and again, weighed the pros and cons, and the pros outweigh the cons at this point for us, for our district.
With Harlan coming on board in 2017, they'll get into the realignment in 2018. You'll have 11 schools. That mean Northside may get broken up. Will Harlan maybe come in 5A? How do you all see that playing out?
Well, and that's a good point. You know, we expect Harlan to be 6A, but we don't know until the numbers come out. And if they're 5A, that means we'll still have a 10-team 6A district. But if not, if they're all 11 6A, we'll definitely be split.
With the UIL making a change this year where in Class 6A, if you win your district or the higher seed, you host in the first round. With Northside crossing over with a Corpus and San Antonio district in round 1, most likely it looks like one of the Northsiders will get a home game against Corpus. That certainly has to help with travel and being able to give that team an extra home field advantage.
Well, it just helps with one less flip. You know, so we know we'll at least win one flip as far as home and home, and so our upper seed will definitely get the home field.
The other big change going on next door with the building of the new gymnasium to help out with Taylor Fieldhouse. How's that going, and what's it going to look like?
Well, I don't know if y'all have the renderings of it, but we're real excited about getting the new basketball and volleyball facility. As you know, right now with 10 high schools, that means boys and girls basketball teams, that's 20 basketball teams, and with Harlan 22. And we just have Paul Taylor to play in, and then of course O'Connor part-time. So greatly needed, and we're excited to have that completed. And they tell us by next October, but they got a lot of work to do to get it done by next October. But when it gets done, we'll be excited to get in it.
Final question, any changes to the parking lot? I know certainly when Brandeis and O'Connor come in a few weeks, 12,000 fans will be here. Are they going to add more parking, or what are they going to do with some of the parking lot being lost with the new facility coming up?
Greg, I don't know where we're going to add new parking right at this point, but you know, we have some plans, you know, as far as, you know, helping out with Champions Gate, using parking there, and then of course we have Brandeis right up the street and be able to use the parking there. So we'll definitely have a plan, but we're telling everybody to come early and possibly carpool.
Well, carpool definitely a big thing. Stan Lang, the AD of Northside ISD. Stan, always appreciate you dropping by, and we know it's going to be another successful season for all 10 of the Northside schools across the district. Thanks so much for joining us.
And right now, before we go any further, let's go down on the field. Greg Sherman standing by with our player of the game.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I'm joined now by Jake Stewart. 3 first-half touchdowns. Jake, you missed the last 3 games because of a concussion. Certainly had to feel great being back in the lineup tonight.
Yes, sir, for sure. It felt really good. Really good.
Tell me, I guess, from the opening play, recovering the onside kick and scoring 3 touchdowns in 61 seconds, really never allowing Marshall a chance to get in this one.
Yes, sir. It was a great way to start the game and a great way to get the momentum early. Yes, sir.
Tell me briefly about the touchdowns you had tonight. You had 3 of them.
Oh, it was just a play we drawn up in practice, and it was a great throw and just executed properly, basically.
2 weeks ago, 0-5 heading into the opener with Holmes. Holmes had a chance in overtime to beat you all, went for 2, didn't get it. What's the momentum swing been the last couple of weeks? Now that you're 2-0, leading the zone, and at least have now clinched a spot, at least in one of the playing games.
Yes, sir. It really it boosts the attitude in the locker room for sure. It allows us to do what we want the next 2 games and hopefully come out with another win and maybe go 3-0 in district and keep going from there.
Well, you've got tough ones coming up. You've got O'Connor on a short week, then you've got Brandeis at the end of the year. What do you do heading into those final 2 games trying to continue this play?
I think we just do what we've done the first 2 weeks and hopefully come out victorious. I think we need to prepare just like we have for the first 2 games and see what it.
Jake Stewart, congratulations on a big win, 41-0, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you, appreciate it.
3 touchdowns for him. By the way, the 41-6 win, the largest win for Clark in 5+ years. Tom, Jeff, back up to you.
All right, Greg, thanks.
We're joined once again by men's basketball coach Ken Burmeister. The Cardinals had an exciting win over SFA. We'll get to that in a moment, but tonight the coaches versus cancer game, men's basketball across the country, wearing the sneakers instead of the dress shoes, and certainly it's one of those great promotions that's been going on for a long time across the country.
Well, Coach Valvano started with Dick Vitale, and they've raised millions and millions of dollars to cure something that can't be cured, but they're making small strides, but it takes a lot of money, and there's a lot of money being raised through charities and foundations and donations by individuals, and coaches wear their sneakers to promote the event.
Well, the Cardinals had a really exciting win, 70-68 over SFA, the first win against SFA in school history. It was a tale of 2 halves. Cardinals couldn't make a free throw in the first half. Jordan Kite hit 5 big threes to keep the Cardinals in it. In the second half, the Cardinals made their free throws. Sean Johnson struggled for 39 minutes. Then he had a great final 45 seconds, hitting a couple of threes from the far corner, including the winner. And he had mentioned during the post that he was kind of lost his confidence, but a good job by the team to get his confidence back, and he ends up being the hero.
Well, he struggles against athletes that put a lot of pressure on him. And really and truly it's Sean's fault. He's been here 3 years. His high school told us coming in that he struggled with dribbling and passing. Good shooter. And here he is 3 years later, still can't dribble, but he can shoot. And we left him in there because of rebounding, and he gives us a presence. And Sam got the ball in the corner, made a nice drive to the middle, and kicked it to an open 3, and that's the way it's supposed to be.
The Cardinals beat SFA, and now they turn their attention to Abilene Christian, a team that's been building up the last couple of years. They had some struggles 2 years ago, going 4-14 in conference, but Joe Golding just became the 4th winningest coach in school history, and Joe's done a good job getting his program turned around, as the standings near the bottom are about 7 or 8 teams separated by a game, but certainly Joe Golding doing a good job with ACU.
Well, Abilene Christian started out real strong in the beginning of the year, and they got a good team. They beat Stephen F. Austin also, and the amazing thing about Stephen F. Austin is they don't like the school, they don't like the football coaches, they don't like the football players, they don't like the women's coach, they don't like the women's players, and they don't like us. They would rather beat us than Kentucky, and we're 6-0 against them. They've been really dogfights, so to speak. They play extremely over their head when they play us. They play extremely hard. They would rather beat us than Kentucky. That's the hatred they have for us. And the funny thing is, it was because of our university that they were accepted into Southland. Our university, Dr. Agnesi pushed for them to get in, and we got them in. And now I don't know if they're trying to start a hate rivalry or what, but it's really unsportsmanship what they do.
They come in 8-10. They've blown a couple of big leads, though, in conference to Southeastern and Nichols. Nichols, their last opponent. Heading into these games yesterday, 1 or 2 games separated 4th from 13th. The Cardinals are kind of in the middle of it, and kind of where a lot of people might have thought they would have been in the middle of the standings. But if you win tonight and then have to take the long trip to Central Arkansas on Saturday, you win that, the Cardinals get back over 500 in conference.
Yeah, we have some computer or somebody in Kansas City that makes our schedule for the conference. It just doesn't think about the student athlete. Think about it. We get done with our game tonight. We got a bus all night to play Central Arkansas. The same thing with the women. Sometimes we'll play on the road and then got a bus back and play a Saturday home game. The conference really has to put their minds together and do a better job of scheduling. It's ridiculous the way the schedule are. There's not a coach of any of the universities that likes it, men or women.
Back here at the McDermott Convocation Center, getting ready to tip off in just a few moments as Abilene Christian and Incarnate Word. Again, the Wildcats, Franklin, Lewis, Tripp, Green, and Friday. For the Cardinals, Hart, Sox, Wyatt, Singleton, and Sean Johnson. There's a cliche term in sports, William, and that is a trap game. The Cardinals, coming off of what their goal has been the last several years, finally beat Stephen F. Austin. They finally did that. Now they take on a team that they have not lost to in the Division I era. And again, we talk about the old cliche trap game, and now the Cardinals have to come back from that emotional high with the win over SFA and prepare for a very feisty Abilene Christian team.
Well, I tell you, what you got to do is you got an amazing coach over there in Burmeister. I think the things that he told his team is, listen, let's stay focused, let's stay committed to the plan. And if I'm coach, what I'm saying is, listen, we know we can compete with anybody, but we also know we can get beat by anybody. We got to stay to the course and win this game tonight.
Yeah, standings are still jam-packed. New Orleans is playing McNeese right now. They lead McNeese 40-22 at halftime. Nichols leading Houston Baptist 45-40 at halftime. Games last night, Northwestern State 85-71 over Southeastern Louisiana. Stephen F. Austin beat Central Arkansas 78-76, and at A&M Corpus won at Lamar 69-66. So the standings getting tighter and tighter. New Orleans at the moment with a half-game lead over Sam Houston, who's won 6 in a row. They're 6-0 since the calendar turned to 2017. New Orleans right now in good shape to get to 7-1. Meanwhile, as I mentioned at the top of the broadcast, ACU is 2-5, but the spread between 4th place and last place is roughly 2 games. So if you win 3 or 4 in a row, as the Cardinals are doing right now, you can move up the standings. But if you drop 3 or 4 in a row, you can quickly go back down.
What to tell you too, Greg, is that you can't take any team in this conference for granted. Everybody's playing their style of basketball, and I believe if the Cardinals come out and play their style of basketball, they can continue to position themselves to compete to get into the conference tournament.
Cardinals go right to left on the dial to start the game. They'll be in their typical home whites with red numbers, black trim. We'll get the ACU description in a moment. The football players are all shirtless up in the stands. I think Daniel Yanselson gave them some tips because the only thing I can say is they all look like they're much better in shape than you or I, William.
Well, I hope so.
I'm 35. I wish I could still look like a football player. We'll get into that aspect of the broadcast way down the road. AC will be in the home or the road purples with white numbers. Your officials for tonight's contest: Toby Martinez, the referee. Mr. Kirby Sitton and Ross Collins Jr. will be the officials. Again, the teams very familiar with each other. Meeting number 14 between the two programs. Cardinals have, again, won all 6 going back to the start of conference to D1 play. Winning the games last year 74-70 and 74-60. Well, they're playing the pump-up music. Toby Martinez will throw the ball up. Friday will jump it for ACU. And for the Cardinals, it'll be Singleton. Ball is up in the air, and it is once again controlled by the opposing team. And that is controlled by Franklin, as the Cardinals don't win the jump ball too often, but it really doesn't hurt them. And they force a turnover here, and it's kind of like Bill Belichick. Bill Belichick always defers, lets the other team go on offense first, and he doesn't lose very often. Hart with the ball for the Cardinals, their first possession of the contest. Simi Sox, who's having a great sophomore season, will flip it out to Hart, top of the key, around to Johnson on the far side. Back around to Hart. Cardinals just playing a little pitch and catch outside of the three-point line. Now Hart lets it go from the near side for three. Boom! For Jalen Hart, little pitch and catch, and there's your three.
That's it. Great penetration, great shot. Way to get it going early.
That's what you kind of like, is seeing the pitch and catch, and you wait for your shot to fall. Drake Green works in the low blocks, give and go to Friday. Jelani Friday, one of the many freshmen on the Abilene Christian side, with the first points of the night for Wildcats. Again, the Wildcats, no seniors on the team. They have a lot of freshmen, so they will continue to build. Again, a team that started off 3-0 a couple of years ago in conference play, lost 14 of the final 15, and Joe Golding ended up having several players who left. He had a couple of transfers out, and he's really built up a good roster. Hart to Singleton on the far side, far wing for three. Boom! For Tyler Singleton, and 2 possessions and 2 3-pointers for the Cardinals.
Well, you can clearly see the Cardinals look a lot more comfortable shooting the ball at the beginning of this game opposed to the Stephen F. Austin game.
That's kind of what you like to see, because you wondered how the Cardinals would start off the momentum. Jalen Franklin, again, the reigning freshman of the year in the conference, kicks it all the way out to Friday for 3, and Jelani Friday buries a 3, and ACU staying right with the Cardinals. Friday with all 5 points. Lewis, the leading scorer on the team, 14 points. Friday at 14, Franklin at 10. ACU averages 68-4, 69 against, so roughly about the same. Cardinals average 77-4 and 80 against. Johnson near wing for 3. That one off the front of the rim, but Singleton right there to clean it up. Back to Sean Johnson. Johnson kind of lost his confidence in the middle of the SFA game, and actually did a good thing as a foul called by Drake Green, and he lost his confidence, and unlike Kobe Bryant, instead of just trying wild threes and all this stuff, he passed the ball a lot to Jordan Kite, and Kite made all those threes and kept the Cardinals in it.
And that just tells you the maturity and his growth this year's here. He know when to shoot the ball, not to shoot the ball.
Ball inbounded to Simi Sox. Jalen Hart trying to find Wyatt in the low blocks. Pocket collapses into the paint. That should leave somebody wide open. It's Johnson, far side for 3. Boom! For Sean Johnson.
He still has the range.
Sean Johnson, the Cardinals now 3 out of 4 from three-point range. They lead at 9-5. Ball worked in the low blocks to Lewis. Now to the near corner. Three-pointer for Abilene Christian is up and in by Isaiah Tripp. And a stoppage in play. Well, so UIW is off to a great start, but ACU is staying with them. I believe there is maybe an injury and some blood somewhere, and so quick sub as Hayden Howell, another one of the newcomers, Midwest City, Oklahoma, will check in.
Well, you don't want to see that with any player in injury.
Looks like Friday may have, sorry to cut you off, looks like Friday may have had to check out again if there was some sort of blood, and they will automatically make you come off the floor. Johnson loses the handle. His pocket was picked by Lewis. Lewis drives in all the way coast to coast, lays it up and in, and it's weird. The Cardinals have played well, but they trail 10-9 3 minutes into the contest.
Well, these are the things you're looking out for the Cardinals as they are, have to continue to match the energy and keep it high.
Well, we're being told it's possibly a finger injury with Friday. Certainly don't want to speculate. We'll see what happens. Sox top of the key for 3. Boom! For Simi Sox. Cardinals are basically abandoning the 2-point shot. They said, hey, the final minute of this SFA game from 3 worked well, so we'll just keep shooting from 3.
And that shot there, they say money is in the bank.
12-10, the Cardinals with the lead by 2. Far side three-pointer for Green. It rattles in and out. No. Sox with the rebound. Cardinals finally get a stop. Hart flips it back to Johnson. Johnson nearly loses the handle, and I believe, nope, they'll say the ball went up, loses the handle, but was knocked out by ACU, and we're at our first immediate timeout. Threes raining down left and right. It's 12-10, Cardinals with the lead, 4:03 into the contest. This is UIW basketball on TSRN.
so much for joining us here on TSRN. A game that was scheduled to be played at 6 o'clock tonight moved up 4 hours because of the threat of weather. So a little bit of day baseball. We know you may be listening to us from work or school. Don't worry, we won't tell your boss or your teacher that you're listening. We're glad to have you with us. Well, as I mentioned off the top, the Cardinals suffered another injury, a key one, in their loss on Sunday to Nichols, 8-3. If you were with us, we told you about Braden Martin being pinch hit for after striking out in the first inning of Sunday's game. He was lifted for a pinch hitter. As it turns out, he suffered an injury, and as you'll hear from Danny Heap in a few moments, he is out of the lineup, at least for now. He's unsure when he'll be back into the lineup, as he was actually out getting an MRI earlier today. And again, Danny Heap will join us in just a moment. The Cardinals lose 8-3 on Sunday to Nichols. Cardinals got the early lead 1-0 thanks to a trio of walks and a trio of wild pitches, but Nichols scored 6 runs in the middle 3 innings. Cardinals got a couple of runs late, but it was not enough as they fell 8-3, dropping 2 out of 3 in the series. Their record now is 8-24. For UTSA, they're going through a tough season as well. Their record is just 12-19. They dropped 2 out of 3 here at Roadrunner Field, also known today. And again, Danny Heap will join us in just a moment. The Cardinals lose 8-3 on Sunday to Nichols. Cardinals got the early lead 1-0 thanks to a trio of walks and a trio of wild pitches, but Nichols scored 6 runs in the middle 3 innings. Cardinals got a couple of runs late, but it was not enough as they fell 8-3, dropping 2 out of 3 in the series. Their record now is 8-24. For UTSA, they're going through a tough season as well. Their record is just 12-19. They dropped 2 out of 3 here at Roadrunner Field, also known as the Birdbath, to Marshall. They were tied at 1 going to the 8th inning on Sunday. Marshall got a 4 spot in the 8th, and the Thundering Herd went on to win 5-2. UTSA 12-19 on the season. They are battling, trying to get to the Conference USA tournament, where 8 out of 12 teams will go from Conference USA. Right now, they are in 11th out of 12. Southern Miss is at 11-1. Florida Atlantic tied with Rice at 9-3. A very, very good conference. In fact, one of the UTSA staff members was telling me earlier today that Conference USA has the 3rd-ranked RPI in the nation. The Cardinals are still a couple years away from being eligible for the Southland Conference tournament. They're tied right now with 2 other teams for 11, so 3 teams share the bottom of the conference. The good news, the Cardinals still have to play games against those teams. Well, weather will be a factor all week. Cardinals are supposed to play Corpus tomorrow. That's going to be weather permitting, and we may end up seeing a doubleheader on Friday with Sam Houston coming in. But for the Cardinals, with Braden Martin now out, the starting outfield today will be Eddie Gonzalez, who had a big series, 3 triples in the series against Nichols, Corey Duran, and Tanner Wall. Cody Allen will get the start today for the Cardinals. Danny Heap, as you'll hear from in just a moment, said that the pitchers will all be on pitch counts today. No one is expected to throw more than 50 pitches. UTSA will start Karan Patel. He is 1-4 with a 10.08 ERA, but an interesting story about him. The freshman has earned the Tuesday starting spot. His father is actually part of the USA national team cricket team as one of the coaches. We'll get into that later on. Right now, we're going to take a timeout, and Danny Heap waiting to join us here on the air as we will talk to Danny, talk about the latest injury for the Cardinals.
Joined now by UIW manager Danny Heap. And Danny, looking back to the Nichols series, all 3 games were pretty competitive. Nichols, though, took 2 out of 3. But back to Sunday's game, the Cardinals got an early run. Nichols got some in the middle innings. Did a good job getting to the bullpen early, but Nichols' bullpen pitched 7+ good innings, and the Cardinals just weren't able to get enough runs on Sunday.
Yeah, I mean, that, we seem to be playing good enough to win, but then we'll have something happen, whether we just don't score runs or we give up our runs early. So, we'll keep plugging. We had a team meeting, and we're trying to get things loosened up a little bit and try to get some input from the guys on what works for them and what doesn't work for them. We're open to a lot of different stuff now.
Eddie Gonzalez had a great series, had 3 triples, tied the school record for most triples in a game with 2 on Saturday. And I know a lot of the freshmen are maybe take a little time to develop, but it certainly looks like Eddie's already developed and is certainly ready for Division I ball.
Yeah, got off to a slow start. They got pattern pitching him. He's made some adjustments on that kind of stuff, which, that's what it's about. You bring freshmen in, and are you going to be able to make changes because they're going to throw to your weaknesses? weaknesses, and so he has made some adjustments to his weaknesses. He's learned to take that away a little bit, and he's got the bat speed for it. Not a average runner, average arm. But what he does do, he puts the ball in play and he doesn't strike out. So, I mean, that's one thing that he's done a really good job this year. I'm looking for him. He's going to get a little bit, not necessarily taller, but he's going to get a little bigger, a little stronger, and fit him in with some of these freshmen that we're going to bring in next year. And then that's how you get better. All of a sudden, it can happen overnight that way too.
With a non-conference game, who are some of the other, you can chance to reflect back, who are maybe one or two other guys that you've been impressed with this season, maybe guys that are doing better than last year, or some freshmen or newcomers that are ahead of expectations?
Well, I didn't know about Ryan Gonzalez. I mean, Ryan has done a good job for us. I mean, Cody Allen has thrown good for us. Bernie Martinez is going to have to keep making adjustments. Hull is throwing well now, so it's just, we knew it would take time. I mean, obviously it doesn't happen quick enough for a coach, but we knew it was going to take some time. We knew we were going to have some growing pains. Returner guys, Kale's having a great season. I'm just trying to think. Braden Martin has had a really good season, and he's in for an X-ray as we speak, and we'll find out if we get him back this year. So
what happened to Braden?
He's got a hand injury that he's going in for an MRI, and so tomorrow I'll get good news or bad news. So hopefully we can get him back in the lineup. He did we've kind of put him in that leadoff role. He's done a great job with it. He's hitting over 300 for us. So I don't want to lose another 300 hitter. We already lost 2 of them. So, but that's what it is, and then somebody else will have to step up and get some playing time.
Boy, that's what now 3 outfielders that have been injured too, that may be out for the year, and now who knows how long Braden's out. It almost seems like this is the year where I guess there's a lot of things that maybe aren't going so well, but I know at least the pitching wise, I know outside of maybe 2 or 3 innings against Nichols, the pitching looked well, and certainly as you talked about on Sunday, Chase Tidwell doing such a great job with so many young pitchers. A lot of guys this time last year were sitting in a high school class and now are playing college ball.
Yeah, and we're starting to slot guys where we think they can do a good job. When we first got this thing started, we let everybody throw. We see who's going to be able to be ready and who's going to need more time, and so now we're kind of using more of the guys who we think are ready and giving more time to the ones who are going to need it. So that's just part of it. But we're gonna keep playing. We're just going to try to we're piecing together a lineup a little bit. We've got some guys kind of playing out of position. We're going to get Ryan Gonzalez is going to be back, and he's going to play second base. He's been out for about 3 or 4 or 5 days.
Back here at Roadrunner Field, affectionately known as the Bird Cage and the Bird Bath by the fans of UTSA, as we are just about ready to get the game underway. Let's get to the starting lineup for UTSA. Leading it off is Ryan Gonzalez, the second baseman. Eddie Gonzalez, no relation, will hit second and left. Batting third, Austin Hoffman at first base. Brant Cale bats fourth at third base. Batting fifth, Tanner Wall, the right fielder. Batting sixth, Corey Duran in center. Batting seventh, Christian Dibblebis at the catcher's position. Batting eighth, Weston Pitts, the DH. And Bryce Shepard hits ninth, the shortstop. So it's Gonzalez, Hoffman, Cale, Wall, Duran, Dibblebis, Pitts, and Shepard. Cody Allen will get the start. We'll tell you about him coming up in the bottom half of the inning. Defensively for the Roadrunners, the outfield consists of Stacy, Bowles, and Valentine. Around the horn, the infield, it is Pickering, Straub, Arias, Hilston at first. The catcher is Mason George, and Karan Patel is the starting pitcher. He's their usual Tuesday starter. 1-4, the 10.08 ERA, his 12th appearance, 8th start. He's thrown 27 2/3 innings, given up 34 runs, 31 earned on 34 hits, walked 26, struck out 31, and opponents are hitting .296 against him. And as I mentioned during our pregame, his father is actually an assistant coach on the U.S. national cricket team. So that's an interesting story, as head coach for UTSA is Jason Marshall. 4th year is an alumnus of Texas A&M. Rodney Garza and Jim Blair and Brett Lawler are the assistants. So Patel, the stats don't show it, but he is a very good pitcher. He is a freshman from Sugar Land, Texas, by way of Kempner High School. He actually beat UC Irvine in the only win that he's recorded this season. Scouting report, according to Jason Marshall, the manager, is that Patel needs more consistency. He's got a good spinner, and he will go as long as he can, as he will not be on a pitch count. UTSA lost 2 out of 3 to Marshall. Cardinals dropped 2 out of 3 to Nichols. UTSA is in 11th place in the 12-team Conference USA. Cardinals are in a 3-way tie for 11th in the 13-team Southland Conference. Game scheduled for tomorrow and then on the weekend. Once again, no Braden Martin, as you heard Danny Heap say a few minutes ago. He is getting an MRI on the hand. Not sure if he injured it in the field or at the plate. He struck out in his only at-bat in the first inning on Sunday. Was lifted for a pinch hitter to begin the third inning. And just looking through my notes from Sunday, don't know where he may have injured it, but hopefully he will return back at some point this season. Martin is a senior, and the last thing you want to have is have a senior see his career or see his senior season cut short. Just about ready to get underway. Ryan Gonzalez, who missed a few games due to a hand injury, will lead it off. .217 hitter, no home runs, 10 runs batted in. It's about 70 degrees, overcast skies. Wind blowing straight in on our position, so we'll be hearing the wind throughout the game. Your umpires for today, Jared Higdon's at calling the balls and strikes, Matt Hansen's at first, and Roger Claycomb is at third. So they get Conference USA Cruise. We get the first pitch at 2:03 Central Daylight Time. Right on the outside corner, called strike 0-1. Ryan Gonzalez, who again missed a handful of games due to a cut finger, but did return towards the end of the Nichols series, was used in a spot role in that series. Pitch taken for a strike, 0-2. Cardinals' batting average did go up 14 points from .217 to .231. The ERA, which was north of 8, is now at 6.28, so in the last couple of weeks. The 0-2 check swing is in the dirt, but Gonzalez did not go around. 1-2. Cardinals are in the black tops with red numbers, white trim, and gray pants. UTSA in the combination of what you would call the Cal State Fullerton and the 90s San Diego Padres look, with the blue pinstripes on white tops and white pants. The 1-2 is outside 2-2. Wind may have affected that. Again, the wind is blowing in, so likely we'll not see too many fly balls today. And as I say that, there'll probably be about 12 home runs hit between the two clubs. So we're glad to have you with us here on TSRN. So Patel's day is done. He threw 109 pitches. He'll pick up a no decision unless Hoffman scores from at first, as that is his responsibility. The new pitcher, first time we've seen the bullpen, Patrick Herbelin for UTSA. He's a righty sidewinder. Herbelin is 1-4 with a 6-flat ERA, 14th appearance all in relief. Does have a couple of saves. He's thrown 27 innings, given up 24 runs, 18 of them good on 37 hits, walked 7, struck out 24, so that walk-to-strikeout ratio pretty good. He's given up 9 doubles, though, and a home run, and opponents are hitting .322 against him. So, Karan Patel, again, he could still take the loss if Hoffman from first scores. We'll finish his line in a moment. Brance Cale now will step in. Patel threw 7 innings plus 1 batter here in the 8th. Bunt is shown. Pitches a ball 1-0. He's given up 2 runs, only one of them earned on 5 hits. Walked 4, struck out 5, faced 30 batters. Threw 2 wild pitches. Hit a batter and threw 109 pitches. Bunt is shown. It's pulled back again, 2-0. Herbelin, who wears number 16, Herbelin. He's a senior from Waco, Texas, by way of McLennan Junior College. Bunt is shown again. There it's laid down, but foul down the first baseline, 2-1. Saw this earlier in the game in which the Cardinals tried to give UTSA an out on a bunt. UTSA ended up walking the runner. Love to see another walk here, and then potentially have Wall put the bunt sign on with first and second and nobody out. But first, we have to see what happens with Cale. Throw over to first, and just getting back in time is Hoffman. Bunt is shown, pitch, and the bunt is laid down perfectly on the first baseline. Pitcher can't, bobbles the ball once, twice. Everybody's safe. For the second time in the game, the Cardinals get a runner on who is bunting, and it'll go down as an E1, as it was the pitcher who was kind of trying to scoop it. He tried it twice, and it didn't work. So Herbelin comes on and commits an error. So first and second, nobody out. Here's Tanner Wall. We'll see if maybe the bunt sign comes back on. Wall singled and scored the game's first run, has popped out and flown out. You've got Duran on deck, who hit a home run on Sunday. Then behind him is Dibblebis. It's a righty-lefty matchup, and bunt is shown. And the pitcher, Herbeling, will step off the mound. And Hoffman has to scamper back to first. So we've had 3 errors, 1 each in each of the last 3 half innings, 2 by UTSA and 1 by UIW. The UTSA error did lead to a Cardinal run. Cardinal error did not lead to anything. Third baseman is up the line. Pitch taken for a strike, 0-1. Trying to find out the last time the Cardinals actually defeated UTSA. It's been a while. Told you the series went dormant for a while, then came back on when the Cardinals began the transition back to Division I. They have not defeated them since they started the transition. First baseman cheating up the line, but time called before anything can happen. Cardinals have beaten them 8 times in school history. I believe it's 8-11. Again, Wall showing bunt. Here's the pitch. It is bunted but foul. And so Wall fails to lay down the bunt. He could try to bunt again, but if he fouls it on a 2-strike count, it would be a strikeout. Game was moving pretty fast the first 5.5 innings. It's kind of slowed down a little bit. Sort of like 1604 traffic during rush hour. So no balls, 2 strikes. Here's the pitch. And it's taken for a ball, 1 ball, and 2 strikes. So we crossed the 4 o'clock hour. Game was originally supposed to start at 6. First pitch was moved up by 4 hours to try to beat the rain. Looks like we'll get this one in. Question is, which team is going to be the one that wins it? The 1-2 pitch is in the dirt, 2-2. So after Wall was behind in the count 0-2 because of a couple of bunts he failed to lay down, he's now even at 2-2. Again, UTSA once upon a time was in the Southland Conference for a while. Then when they added football in 2011, they became an FCS independent. They moved up to the FBS as part of the WAC. When the WAC got out of the football business, they went to Conference USA. Ground ball hit to the second baseman, could be 2, thrown over to second for 1. Relay to first is just in time. Well, third double play that the Cardinals have grounded into. It'll go 4-6-3. Kale is out on the base pass. Hoffman, though, does move to third. Hoffman is the responsibility of Patel. But there are now 2 outs for Corey Duran. Duran was hit by a pitch, grounded out, and struck out. Boy, you just hate to see those double plays because those are killers. The Cardinals did score a run on one of them, but it kind of short-circuited a rally in the second inning. So 2 outs with a runner at third. Pitch is outside. They're going to throw down to third. Nobody was covering third, and the third baseman who was playing off the bag, Pickering, had to run back, or else the ball would have gone into left field, and another error would have given the Cardinals the lead. Somebody missed a signal, and it nearly cost the Roadrunners. Pitch is a little bit outside, 2-0. Pitch swung on and missed, and it's 2-1 as Duran was swinging for the fences but came up empty. Cardinals have not defeated UTSA since 1993. A ground ball past the shortstop, and it just gets past the glove, and the error will come back to haunt UTSA again. Run scores. First RBI of the day for the Cardinals, and the Cardinals take the lead at 3-2. It's an unearned run. It'll go to Patel. Straub tried in vain to grab it, but just could not get it. That'll bring up Dibblebis. Dibblebis swings and misses, 0-1, so 2 unearned runs in the last 2 innings for the Cardinals, and they have now taken the lead at 3-2, looking for their first win over UTSA in baseball in 23 years. Divilbiss walked and scored the game-tying run in the 7th, has walked twice total and struck out once. Again, the run goes to Patel, the starter, and his line is now complete. He can now lose it. Divilbiss checks swing, and it's foul 0-2. So the Cardinals are now 6 outs away from winning. Again, Patel is the pitcher of record, the starter. For the Cardinals, it is now Tyler Leslie who is the pitcher of record who could potentially win it. So a walk, an error, a double play, and an RBI, or an RBI single. The error does factor in because even though the batter who reached on the error was taken out on the double play, ground ball over to third, throw over to second in time to get the force out. Duran is forced out 5-4, but the inning is over, and a bigger but, the Cardinals get another unearned run to take the lead. 1 run, 1 hit, 1 huge error, and 1 left on base. We're through 7.5, our new score. It's UIW 3 and UTSA 2. This is Cardinal Baseball on TSRN. Moskowitz on the season is 1-3 with a 3.82 ERA. 19th appearance, does have 3 saves in 33 innings pitched. He's given up 15 runs, 14 earned on 34 hits, walked 19, struck out 23 hitters. Leslie's line, as we're going to close that out for you. Again, Leslie can win it. Trying to scribble our notes in real quick. Ben Brookover, who came out as a pinch hitter in the 6th inning, grounded into a fielder's choice, the only batter that Austin Price faced. Ended the 6th after UTSA had tied it at the time. First pitch on the outside corner misses 1-0, and the Cardinals now have some room to work with. It is a safe situation. So Leslie goes 2 innings, gives up no runs on no hits, 1 hit. Did not walk a batter, did not strike out a batter. Faced 8 batters, and he threw a total of 32 pitches. A couple of strikes thrown here by Moskowitz as we were totaling everything out 1 and 2. So Moskowitz with an opportunity to try to save this for the Cardinals. Moskowitz was one of 10,000 pitchers the Cardinals used on Sunday. Through 1 2/3 innings, gave up 1 run. It was earned on 2 hits, walked 2, didn't strike anybody out, faced 7 batters through 30 pitches. Pitch here is a ball 2-2. Pitch, swing, and a miss, strike 3. The ball is in the dirt, so Divilbiss has to throw over to first to complete the strikeout. Only the 3rd strikeout by Cardinal pitching today. And Brookover will head back to the dugout. That'll bring up Trent Bowles, who is 1 for 3 with a single and a run scored. And I guess now if the Cardinals win by 3 runs, then the errors that UTSA committed, although they factored it into the scoring, the Cardinals would have eventually won the game without them. But still, the error is a big part of how the Cardinals were able to come from behind to take the lead. Pitches a strike 0-1. Every Cardinal has reached base at least one time today. A line drive into left field. That'll drop for extra base. That'll drop, in left field for a base hit. Digging for second is Bowles. He'll get in with a sliding double. And because the Cardinals got the insurance runs in the top half of the inning, Bowles, at this point, the Cardinals don't really have to worry about. That's the 17th hit of the game between the 2 teams, but the first extra base hit. That'll bring up Ryan Stacy, who is 1 for 2, reached on an error in the 7th, singled in the 5th, and flew out in the 3rd. And again, the Cardinals don't have to really worry about Bowles because Bowles does not represent the tying or winning run. UTSA needs 1 more base runner to bring the tying run to the plate. A ground ball. Shortstop can't field it, and that will bring the tying run to the plate. As Bowles will stop at 3rd, so runners at the corners now with 1 out. That'll bring up Skylar Valentine back to the top of the order, 1 for 4, the single, and now the Cardinals would gladly like the run for an out. But now Valentine does represent the potential tying run. And hopefully the Cardinals will be able to get out of the inning and get the win. Cardinals have scored runs in each of the last 3 at-bats. Cardinals would certainly love to turn 2 and end it. Pitch is in there for a strike, 0-1. Game is not even 2.5 hours old yet. Cardinals leading at 5-2 thanks to 1 in the 7th, 1 in the 8th, 2 in the 9th. The 0-1 is a pop-up, shallow right field, and the right fielder will come on and make the catch. That's Wall, and it was not deep enough for Bowles to try to tag up and score. So the Cardinals don't even have to play the trading post game there. They get the out and don't give up the run. Second out of the inning, that'll leave the Roadrunners down to their final out, and that'll leave it up to Matt Hilston. Hilston has an RBI single, a walk, and a run scored, as he has factored into both runs scored by UTSA. He is still the tying run at the plate. The first pitch is a curveball outside to the lefty, 1-0. It's going to be hard to pick a player of the game for the Cardinals because nobody had an outstanding day. Everybody contributed roughly equally, which you certainly love to see. The 1-0 is outside 2-0. Don't want to walk Hilston because then you bring the winning run to the plate with Pickering. And the Cardinals have some breathing room thanks to the 2 runs they scored in the top half of the inning. Curveball finally hits strike zone 2-1. A few of the UTSA fans not happy with the call. Ball 2, strike 1. The pitch is in the dirt, 3-1, and now Moskowitz is 1 ball away from walking the tying run onto the plate, or on to the bases. 3 balls, 1 strike, 2 outs. The pitch is taken right down Babcock for a strike, a full count, and now the Roadrunners are down to their final strike. Runners will be in motion. Can Moskowitz finish this one out and get the win? Will this be the last pitch of the game? The payoff pitch is a pop fly, a fly ball into left center field. And the left fielder is underneath it, Eddie Gonzalez. He makes the catch, and the ball game is over. And for the first time since the mid-1990s, Cardinal baseball defeats the Roadrunners. The Cardinals give up a couple of hits, but no damage, no runs, 2 hits, no errors. The Roadrunners leave 2 on base. The final score, UIW 5, UTSA 2. We'll be back to total them up in a few minutes. This is Cardinal Baseball on TSRN.